Zenyatta needs to be nerfed. Hi everybody, my name is Abby. Welcome to the video. I'm not going to waste your time. Zenyatta has become a menace from the support role. He is controlling games, and I've been mostly playing tank and DPS, and well, fortunately for me, I've not played against that many Zenyatta players. But today I decided to pick up Zenyatta, play him a little bit in ranked, play him a little bit in quick play, and on the screen you'll be able to see the footage. My goodness, I was dominating with him. I don't know why a lot more people are not playing him right now, but I do hear ramblings on forums, on the Reddit, that he is being played quite a bit now, that people are recognizing that he's pretty powerful. So what exactly happened with Zenyatta? Okay, so Zenyatta started off as a glass cannon hero whose identity, as in the beginning of Overwatch 1, and how he's evolved to now, was he was a glass cannon hero where his heals were okay. It was really good for pocketing flankers or enabling DPS to take even deeper angles, right? While Zenyatta kind of sat back, and his main strength was that he was really good at dishing out very powerful poke damage, right? With charging up the orbs of destruction and then releasing them towards the enemy down a choke. And usually, more often than not, some sad guy is gonna walk right into it and get blown up by the planets that just dropped on his head. So the trade-off back then was that Zenyatta was a glass cannon. So he has we just talked about the cannon part, excuse me. What about the glass part? Zenyatta was very vulnerable. He did not have the kick that he has now. It didn't have the boop, right? Obviously he had the kick, but it didn't boop people around, and it certainly didn't do more damage than that. We also had Zenyatta in a state where he was a good 200 HP, no 225 and things like that, if I'm not mistaken, at least up until the last year of Overwatch 1. And he was a pretty fair hero because the idea was that if he was able to be isolated, he would get punished. Usually back in the days of 3-2-1 dive the Zen, both teams had to have the Zenyatta in a very smart position in order for the Zenyatta pick to work, but he did bring great value. So the strength in Zenyatta not only was in his burst damage he's pretty good at dueling as well as his poke ability to burst people down, but the main strength of Zenyatta actually came from Discord Orb. Now, while that has remained true up until now, something happened around, Overwatch 2, somewhere like Season 2 to 3 and onwards, where Zenyatta became less glass cannon, and then he became more cannon, and then now he is platinum, steel, metal reinforced cannon. There's very little glass left on this glass cannon, and now there's all sorts of metals that you've probably never heard of. Bro, this guy's got vibranium, adamantium, whatever meum that you can think of, Zenyatta's got it. So the problem started with this. Here you go on your screen right now, is Zenyatta's HP increase went up from 75 to 100. Alongside that, he even had a shields increase. Now, he sits at about 275 HP. He's very few hit points away from being around 300 HP. This is ridiculous, right, when you think about it. Not to mention the fact that Zenyatta already had some really massive orbs, like the projectile. Wow, that sounds really awkward out of context, but Zenyatta had really big projectile sizes, and they weren't that hard to land. So he actually, even he got the projectile size change, and I'm not gonna lie, man, I've been feeling it. Those orbs are pretty powerful, and you can certainly feel the new sizes of how big they can be. Now, of course, you have to aim in the general area of where a target is. I'm not saying just throw an orbital homing beacon, homing missile somebody and throw them out of the lobby. Well, I wish I could do that so I can actually do more with Zenyatta, as if I can't do more right now. You guys are seeing on the screen, I've been popping off with Zenyatta on this icon world map. It's actually disgusting. Okay, my ramblings aside, the problem with Zenyatta right now is that he has the best of everything. Particularly in Overwatch 2, especially in its current state, Zenyatta has very little weaknesses, and his Discord Orb pairs really well with the new DPS passive. Imagine shooting a tank with your DPS. He has the Discord Orb, 20% damage increase on that tank, and then he has the DPS passive that gets applied, which is basically 20% heal decrease. Now that is ridiculous for a tank, right? And I got the tank video coming up soon, guys. I'm gonna talk about the state of tank and which tanks need help, which are fine, and where do we go from here on for tank, and as well as a bit of a philosophy shift for tank players. But it's coming. For now, Zenyatta is benefiting insanely from everything that's happened in the game right now, especially since the game has become a lot more about getting picks and trying to win as quickly as possible. Discord Orb is great for that. Zenyatta's own potential to burst down targets, as well as control choke, where he can easily catch some sorry like idiot that's overextending or peeking for way too long, just because you can line up the shots perfectly and just delete them. Zenyatta is very, very powerful. So where do we go from here? How do we, like, now the question becomes, how do we allow Zenyatta to be a fair pick without taking away too much power, and where do we want the power to be? Zenyatta from his inception has been a glass cannon tank, and I definitely think we should be focusing upon that particular area. Also, before I talk about the glass cannon tank part, we're also going to have to nerf his melee damage, because he was already doing more melee than most characters in the game. And yeah, I'm sorry, his melee didn't need the buff, because holy crap, the new melee hits like a brick wall, like especially if I have a Discord on somebody. I mean, look at this clip over here. I am 1v1ing this Reinhardt and I'm bullying him to the point that I stopped shooting and I was like, you know what, let's, like, I just want him to approach me and I'll keep kicking him around. This is insane, right? So does Zenyatta need the boop on the kick? Does he need high melee damage? Whatever you want to say, all that can be debated in the comment sections between all of you. But this is my opinion in terms of nerfing Zenyatta. Number one, I think we can cut down his HP by 25 to 50, right? I would like to start by cutting him down, because, you know, the mid-season patches are a little bit like less aggressive, and I want to see if, you know, it changes him up or not, right? So we will start with the HP, overall HP getting cut down to about like having 250 HP. I think 250 is okay, because that's pretty much the new norm right now in Overwatch 2. From there on out, I do think Zenyatta's kick damage needs to be nerfed a little bit. They do need to look at the state of Discord Orb and the way it's interacting with the DPS passive, and perhaps I would argue that Discord Orb loses 5% in its effects, right? Otherwise, the next best alternative is, because the role that suffers the most from all these new passives and all these negative effects is the tank role the most. It's the easiest to apply these negative effects on. It's the easiest to get value out of these effects on as well. So it's either they genuinely nerf Zenyatta, or they actually give tanks a passive, or like, yeah, like a new updated passive where tanks are a little bit more resistant to negative debuffs. And I like that's been something I've been seeing suggested, so it's not my idea, but I do like this idea, and I just want to, like, you know, bring it up here as well, because I want to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think of tanks getting a bit of a debuff passive, right? Like a resistance passive to debuffs. Guys, I'm so sorry, I just woke up, so if I'm a little bit all over the place, I'm trying to get this video in before I go to work. So yeah, anyways, besides that, that is basically what I'm saying, right? It's like, perhaps we could look at the tank role. All right, now we can look at Zenyatta individually. I do think another thing we could also do is just like by like 0.1 reduce Zenyatta's orb size, because again, he was one of the heroes that already had a very big, like, you know, projectile size before all these projectile changes. And I don't necessarily think it's going to even harm Zenyatta that much, if I'm being honest with you. All these changes, I consider them to be very soft. Like, again, his power, like the main power of him comes from his ability to apply Discord. Like, even like you as a Zenyatta player, even if you're not popping off, that's okay, because like the Discord orb value that the DPS can just just get so much value out of just by like thrusting damage down that one tank or another DPS is insane right now, right? To the point that where you don't even necessarily care that much about the fact that Zenyatta doesn't even heal that much. Like, you want to win the team fight quickly, you pick Zenyatta. Like, you can play him in like a variety of comps right now. Actually, he's a very flexible hero in my opinion in the current state of the game. Of course, this is like generic ladder picks, not like at the highest of the highest levels of play, right? So Zenyatta, I definitely think, like, reduces HP, reduce the damage on his kick. I would say, you know, have a look at the way Discord Orb is interacting. Either we create a new passive for the tank role to feel better, going to talk about this more in depth in the tank video, or we particularly look at Zenyatta's Discord Orb and we reduce that to about 15%, because I do believe the current value is 20% damage increase. So maybe 15% damage increase, or something a little bit more extreme, a 10% damage increase. So I don't know, guys, how would you nerf Zenyatta? These are just some of my suggestions. I just think he's way too tanky right now. He's very difficult to dive at sometimes, especially in like uncoordinated play, which is pretty much like ladder and quick play. Like, let's be real, we're not all like 5 stacking or playing Overwatch League or Overwatch Contenders or OWCS, right? So I don't know. These are just my suggestions on how to nerf Zenyatta. I would really love to hear your guys' comments down below. I am always reading the comments. Try to keep them as respectful as possible. Respect my opinion. I respect your opinion. Whether we agree, whether we disagree, let's keep it civil, right? Anyways, everybody, that's going to be it for this video. If you want to support the channel for free, all you have to do is hit like and subscribe. There is a lot of educational content in the works. It's kind of why I've been a little bit here and there with the videos, but I promise there's all sorts of fun stuff coming. So again, hit subscribe to stick around for more, and I will see you guys in the next video.